right, so very good morning, good afternoon, depending on when you are. We are so delighted to have you today. March the 8th marks the International Women's Day globally. And it is a movement that started decades ago. And we are so proud in the Society of Exploration Geophysicists to have the opportunity every year to celebrate those powerful, resourceful, insightful women that work in geosciences and specifically in geophysics. We are explorers, and we also explore how to empower the gender inclusion in everything we do. Today, we have a fantastic panel with some of the most probably outspoken advocates and fearful warriors to include women in geosciences. And I am delighted to be moderating today for all of you this panel. The Women's Network Committee organizing this conversation. And today, you are not going to die by PowerPoint. Today, we're going to have a relaxed conversation and the opportunity to listen directly to everything, every thought, every anecdote that our panelists today will share. With that, I would like to introduce first Teresa Santana. Teresa is the chair of the Women's Network Committee, and Cara Hunter is the past chair. Is that so? So with that, I would like Teresa to give a brief introduction of herself and let us know why personally for her, the International Women's Day has an impact. Teresa?
Well, thank you, Mariangela, and welcome everyone to this conversation. I'm Teresa Santana. I'm from Argentina, and I am a geophysics from the National University of La Plata here in Argentina. I actually now work as a chief geophysicist and advisor at the national company YPF. And my role is really to ensure that the projects have technical excellence in geophysics and also to certify the seniority of the whole geoscience community in the company. My background is mainly I'm a master in quantitative interpretation for reservoir characterization, and I've been doing that for over 35 years now, both in Argentina and also internationally. I work for also international companies like Shell for 20 years before coming back to my home country. Sort of giving back to the society my expertise. I am really an advocate of diversity, equity, and inclusion. For I think that make me join several associations and volunteer in several associations. And well, that's the reason I'm now chairing this committee to really push for all these beliefs. In terms of what I feel about this Women's Day, I really feel very strong about it in terms of celebrating all the achievements that women made through their lives, not just professionally, but through their lives, and really pushing through this movement to having a voice at the table. That's what is the most difficult. So we know that needs some push and some action and regulation, and that's what we are going to be talking about today. because I think we need to have equal opportunity to everyone to decide what they want. So that's briefly me, and I hope you really enjoy this conversation and have also your cause alive to move on.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Teresa. We are so proud that we are together in this panel today. And with that, we would certainly like Cara Hunter to give us a briefing about herself and let us know, what does inclusion mean for you at the International Women's Day?
Sure. Thank you, Maria Angela. So my name is Cara Hunter. I'm the Technical Community Engagement Manager at SLB, formerly Schlumberger, as many people know. I have been involved with the Women's Network now for at least 4 or 5 years, and last year I was the chair. And it's really been a great opportunity for me to meet women in the industry, women in geophysics, working with AAPG Women's Network, and really getting to support our technical community and specifically women in geophysics. So it's really been an honor and a pleasure to get to know a lot of the women here that are on this panel that I've gotten connected with through SEG Women's Network. And for me, most of my background is in processing and imaging geophysics. And I've been with the SLB now 14 years. So still early-ish, maybe getting towards mid-career. But anyways, I'm excited to be here. I think the question was, what does inclusion mean to me? So inclusion means to me personally that when you speak, your voice is heard. So being on an inclusive team means that everyone has an opportunity to speak and have their input. It also means allowing people to maybe speak up when things aren't going well. I think that's a really big thing, not just speak up when things are going well, but also speak up when things aren't going well and being able to challenge those norms. For me, it also means questioning. Are we doing things the right way? Are we, 20 years ago, maybe we're sticking with something that we've always done. Could we be changing? I know there's a lot of change now in the whole digital transformation with sustainability, wanting to be in the industry 50 years from now, but also having a more sustainable planet and being able to provide those solutions. So we're doing a lot of questioning, a lot of coming up with new ideas. And the only way that that's going to come out is, for me, if you have an inclusive team that feels truly that they belong and that they're able to bring their authentic selves. So I think that's just a short, in a nutshell, what inclusion means to me.
Well, that authentic self, it's a wonderful way to express what is that we want to accomplish, including women in everything we do at work. And with that, let me open up for Adriana Sola from PGS. Adriana, if you can introduce yourself very briefly and let us know, what does inclusion mean to you?
Thank you, Maria Angela. And thank you, everyone, to let me participate today. My name is Adriana Sola. I'm originally from Spain. I left home in '99. So my background is a geologist, but somehow in life, I end up working in geophysics. And somehow, after my 25 years experience, I end up doing more a commercial role. So I had the option to touch different topics on my career, from the technical and now more commercial. And when it comes to inclusion, and I think that's related also with my path since I left home long time ago, it's the sense of belonging. And I'm proud to say that when I was living in Malaysia, I could call it home. And that gave me the growth as a person. Then I have passed, and I hope I'm doing this well, passed to my kids. The inclusion means belonging, but also when it comes to opportunities, is being able to have the say, as Cara was saying, but also having equal opportunities at work. And that comes also related, what I said, the belonging with the respect. So for me, respect is something that it goes anywhere where I go, irrelevant if it's work or my normal life. And that means inclusion.
Excellent, Adriana.
Thank you.
Adriana Sola brings to the equation two more words, belonging and respect. So we are shaping a wonderful ecosystem for what inclusion and International Women's Day mean. And let's hear now from Kucha Lopez. She works in ExxonMobil. Kucha?
Well, hello. Thank you, Mariangela. My name is Cucha Lopez. I work for ExxonMobil. I've been working for ExxonMobil for 14 years now. And I'm a geophysicist, and I have had my entire career working in geophysical applications. And by that, I mean well ties, domain conversion, seismic inversion. A few months ago, took on the challenge of joining the unconventionals division at ExxonMobil, and now I do geomechanics. And so something that I love is that variability, right? That it's never a dull day in the industry for us. Now, for me, inclusion, and I love the fact that we're here and discussing about this, because you can see that it means a lot of great things, but yet different things for everybody, right? And for me, inclusion means to be able to bring my true self to work. It means creating and maintaining and fostering an environment where everybody feels comfortable coming into work their true selves. Why? Because when you feel comfortable with yourself, then you feel comfortable around other people, you feel more comfortable communicating to people, and when everybody feels that way, that's what fosters that true communication and integration and interaction with one another. And that's why it's important to make sure that we're not compromising ourselves when it comes to inclusion and leaving some parts of you at home and then just bringing to work the ones that you think are the ones that are needed. Your hands, your brains, no, you need to bring absolutely all of yourself, because we spend most of the time, well, a great deal of time at work. I really want to feel comfortable in my own skin in whatever activity that I'm doing in my life, especially at work that we're gonna be doing for decades.
Thank you. So we now have bringing to work ourselves, our true selves, which is so important. And about that, we have listened to very incredible role models from industry. Now let's hear from an incredible role model, but from academia. And her name is Fernanda Carozzi. So Fernanda, can I invite you to share with us what does inclusion mean for you?
Hi, Maria Angela. Yes, thank you. Good morning to everyone. Yes, so I'm from Argentina originally, as same as Teresa. I'm currently in Canada. I came to Canada about 8 years ago to do my PhD in seismic processing here. I completed my PhD at the University of Alberta. Before that, I worked in the oil and gas industry as a seismic interpreter for about 5-6 years as well. And yeah, I had my bachelor's and my master's in Argentina, same as Teresa. So I've been a little bit around, same as everyone here in the panel. And so from my point of view, inclusion means a little bit of that, right? Like nowadays, there's a lot of diversity, like all women and all the people that are in the workforce. We have a lot of diversity and a lot of diverse stories behind us, and a lot of different experiences and experiences in both in our lives and in our careers. We come from very different backgrounds and from very different places. And I think that inclusion, to me at least, it has to do with being able, as Kucha was saying, to not just blend in and try to be someone at work, but bringing all that background and that all that story, that history that we have, and being able to like propose new solutions, propose new works, or new ways of working, propose new ideas, and being able to be heard and be respected from including, like, from those different experiences that we have. I believe that when we are able to be flexible and we are able to listen openly to other people's opinions, considering their different backgrounds, we are able to bring in, new innovations and new ways of solving problems. So I think inclusion has a lot to do with that, right? Like understanding all our different backgrounds and different needs and being able to bring those to the table and build new things from there.
Thank you. There is no wonder that coming from academia, you talk to us about the innovation, about the respect for the different profiles and backgrounds and ideas. And yes, we love that. So now that we have seen a little bit and enjoy the perspectives that each of our panelists shared today, we are now going to deep dive into some of the insights that give us a particular view of how each one of our panelists today actually advance diversity, see inclusion, or activate, collaboration for women to be an important part of the equation. So I will scatter around some specific questions, right? And I would like to start with Cara. We have not heard from her in a while. So let me ask Cara that she started by mentioning her company and the rebranding of Schlumberger to SLB. So I will take the opportunity to ask Cara, does your company have any inclusion programs, and since when? And what is the impact that this type of initiative has had in you and in your teams?
Excellent. No, thank you for the question. I have the privilege to be with a company that has really got diversity and inclusion at the core of our purpose and the core of what we do. Ever since I've been with SLB, I mean, diversity and inclusion have been really key parts of our culture. And so much so that we even have a diversity pillar in our performance reviews that we get rated on each year. So it is something really that is valued and something that is important to us. We look at diversity and inclusion through multiple lenses. So we have diversity of nationality and gender, as well as, of course, being a multinational company, we have other dimensions such as parental status, whether you identify as LGBT plus an employee, if you're a person of color, or a person that recognizes as someone with a disability, or maybe you're caring for someone with a disability. So really our efforts around inclusion are around all different aspects. I think it was mentioned by Fernanda, bringing everyone has their own unique perspective and their own unique experience, but it's really around making sure that as a company operating in over, I think 80 or 100 countries globally, that we have equitable policies in place that make sure that our employees feel included. So that's something pretty core to what we do at SLB. We also have a number of different employee resource groups. So we do have a women's network called Connect Women in SLB, and we just celebrated, I think, a 20-year anniversary of the creation of that network. So that's also another opportunity for you to connect with like-minded people and share your experiences, as well as you can join other networks. So I'm a member of the LGBT plus allies group. But I get to hear different perspectives and understand better how I can be an ally and how my actions and how my words can actually better support members of different communities that I don't necessarily identify as a member of. So I think that's really an important thing that I've been able to see in my time at SLB. So that's just a little bit around that. I'm trying to think if there's anything else in terms of I think you mentioned what it means to me. Well, clearly it's had an impact because I have stayed with the company since I graduated. So for me, being included and making sure that we have equitable policies in place, like parental leave. I'm a mom, I have 2 kids, and I was offered very good parental leave benefits. And that's something that I really, really cherish, and that really helped me be able to spend time when I needed to with my family. So being able to respect work and personal life as a working mom, that's something really important to me around inclusion. But ultimately what it has brought to me, and then I think to us as a company, is it really brings more engaged, more satisfied and happy employees. which ultimately is just going to bring us to be able to better serve our teams and better work with our clients and better work with others in the industry. So I think that's in a nutshell of a little bit about our programs at SLB, but also hopefully giving you a little bit more insight about what that's brought to me.
Thank you, Cara. I love when people have one of the elements that was mentioned before, which is the sense of belonging. And we can clearly see your sense of belonging when you say, our employees, our company, we do this, we do that. And that is fantastic, Cara. I congratulate you for being in an organization that, values inclusion in all the facets that these represent. But today we are focusing on the gender inclusion because it's International Women's Day. March the 8th is International Women's Day, is IWD. I would like to highlight that the purple is the color of the International Women's Day organization. That is a celebration that today we advance. We are in the webinar of the Women's Network Committee, which is chaired by Teresa Santana and of the SEG. And I would like to ask Teresa now, or more, maybe she can provide us with a more global perspective in general that is related to women, right, in geophysics. And the question would be, what kind of initiatives are you aware are there, Teresa, in place to help inclusion?
Thanks, Mariangela. There are several initiatives to really help inclusion, especially for women. But the one I would like to highlight most today is the one related to the women empowerment principles that WEP, if you've heard of, that are that have been pushed by the UN Women some years ago. So those principles are the ones that are in a way leading the path and guiding towards having this equity for women, especially worldwide. And in fact, it's great to see that almost 10,000 companies all over the world have signed for these principles. In my country, in Argentina, there are 260. Unfortunately, YPF is one of them as well. And these principles basically are the kind of the root for having guidelines in different pillars like leadership, equity, economy, and the society as a whole, between others. And the thing is to have really equal opportunities for an equal pay for the work that has the same value, right? So that's what we really push for, and this really guides the companies to pursue it and to have this kind of programs like Cara mentioned, for example. Another important one that comes to my mind as well is the one that is more related with the economic side. So it's the economic forum, international forum, the IFC, and there this initiative works mostly in developed countries, trying to get women into the economic role. So those are the kinds of global initiatives that are, I want to highlight it today. There are more. And then the different countries and the different association institutions, they have different. And what I urge is to have really some common ground and push everyone into the same direction with a stronger voice, you know?
So let us hit the conversation more and more and have a fire discussion, initiated.
Yes.
Teresa, with so many initiatives going on for decades, give me a yes or no. Is still needed to have initiatives dedicated to women in specific? Yes or no?
Yes, absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely, because there are women that needs that space. It's just to have that space at that perspective. It's not that it's only for women, in my opinion,
Uh-huh.
but the thing is that women are the ones that are leading that, and they are the
Okay.
ones that put their needs and their fears, you know.
Yes, I understand.
So that's why I think they are still needed. Of course, we
So,
need allies, and that's the power of these networks,
yeah.
as Kara mentioned as well.
But yes, so your answer is yes. So let me
Yes.
bring Fernanda into this fire question because academia is a completely different world, and academia has a lot of women already working there, right? So,
Yeah.
do I want a yes or a no, Fernanda? Do we still need initiatives, networks, workshops, etc.? All kind of activities dedicated to women in academia? Yes or
Yes.
no?
Yes, I think my answer would be definitely yes. I hear a lot of programs that are happening in private companies. I think the academia it's a little bit behind compared to all these maybe programs that are happening, but we have a lot of women working in academia and doing research. I wanted to also raise another thing, talking a little bit about related what Cara and Teresa were saying before, that I feel like we like as we get more and more women in the workforce, both in the private industry and academia, I think we are also exploring more what we need. And like our realities are becoming like more diverse, and we have, as I was saying at the beginning, more diverse backgrounds. So I think we
Mm.
should also like continue including more programs, but also we should continue like exploring what our needs are and kind of evolving. I feel like inclusion for women in particular, which is my experience, is evolving, and we have to
Yes,
continue. It's all the time evolving, and we have to continue learning from ourselves and from our colleagues, and understanding what our needs also are, because maybe Cara was saying like for her it was really important as a mom being like included and having like all these benefits. For example, I don't have kids, but I have other needs. So I would like I feel like for all of us, we are like there's such a diverse workforce, both in academia and in the private sector, that it's really important for us to continue listening openly to all of the voices that are out there, and continue, learning from each other and trying to develop these inclusion programs as we learn from each other.
thank you very much. So, learning from each other. Let me ask Kucha something important. In your opinion, Kucha, could you give me what are or what would be the three more important actions that could advance inclusion of women?
Well, first of all, I have to say you did an amazing job as a moderator for this panel. I'm enjoying listening to you. Um, I think that the first thing that needs to happen is we need to have ownership of who we are and what we do. I think that that's very important in order to create that inclusion, or to advance inclusion in women. We need to be proud of ourselves. We're not only like badass professionals. We maintain households, we maintain families. And I separate those two because for me, I am a woman in geophysics. I'm not married, I don't have kids, but that means that I have to maintain this house by myself. And that's the challenge too, because when in a normal regular world, of decades back, I should have a husband that should take care of changing light bulbs and calling plumbers and fixing things. And so, no, I don't have kids, but I do have to maintain my entire self, right? And I own this. I'm working from home today because there's a plumber that is going to come to my house, right? And I might have important meeting, and I like, can we please postpone this? Is this important or not? Because it's important that my house doesn't flood, right? And so you need to advocate for that. Advocate for all of the different hats that you have to wear, and in order for you to be successful, in order for you to be your best in all of those. Because when you advocate for yourself of who you are and what you do, you're showing people the compromise that exists in all of this, right? Because it's this is all that I am, this is all what that I do, and I need to compromise, and you need to help, you need to understand that there's going to be compromise, and that the priorities are going to shift depending on, what's important or what happens around. The second part, the second thing, the second action that I think is super important, and that in my opinion we're kind of lacking a bit and we need to work a lot more, is participation. Because without participation, I mean, it basically we're showing the wrong image. It's important to show that we're not a minority. I mean, we're women, and there's men and there's women, and there are many women in the industry. But by not actively participating, and and I'm not just talking about panels. I'm talking about that being an advocate, for example, actively participating and work and pull these events too. Then we show that we're not a minority anymore. If I were to add the question that you asked before, my answer would have been no. I don't think it's an issue of women in geophysics. It is inclusion, yes, because of these different hats and the priorities and all of this kind of stuff. I think that we are aware, but that there is, there's this participation that we need to do, and this ownership to advocate for ourselves. Our skills are recognized in the industry, our skills as professionals, our skills in leadership, and not only in the industry, in the world it is recognized that women, because of that sense of caring that is inherent in us and all of that, that makes us very good leaders, because inclusion is part of ourselves, right? And it's part of everybody, but it seems because of our nature we have a little bit more of that, right? But then this is something you need to advocate and demonstrate. And then the third part that I believe is that we need to work towards creating a culture, and for that I think I need to explain a little bit what I mean by culture. And the easiest way is with an example. At ExxonMobil, for example, we have a culture of safety. And a culture of safety, to me, it just means it's in everybody's agreement and knowledge, in everybody's mind, that you're going to hold a handrail. There was all of this activity in promoting this that now is inherent in us. That's what I mean by culture. That is inherent. And I think that we need to work towards getting that we don't need to be explaining ourselves. You already know that there are different hats. You already know there are different priorities. And that's what we need to be working towards too. I don't want to call it normalization, because it seems like it makes it sound like it is not normal. No, it is normal. It just needs to be a culture. And to give you an example of that, and it was not even an example that happened yesterday that didn't even involve a woman. It was a man. I don't have kids. I'm making plans tomorrow, so for next week, as if it's not in my radar that it is spring break, right? And
Yes.
we need to complete this task. And I'm
Yes.
like, okay, I think we have an entire week. By Friday, we're gonna have this done. And I'm talking to this guy, a colleague of mine, and he's like, yes, yes, yes. And well, with the team lead and this guy, my team lead is like, yes, I like this. This is the timeline. This is the period of time where we need this done. And this person was not saying anything. As we're leaving, we're just conversating, and he's just telling me, well, I'm only going to work Monday and Tuesday because I'm going to be out for spring break with the kids. And I'm like, you need to do this at the meeting. Because
But
now I'm
Kucha,
like,
Kucha, let me tell you something. I love the examples that you bring to the table. You talk to us about participation. You talk to us about bringing yourselves an owner. The ownership of all the facets that you bring, your personal life, your work life, and be more into it, right? With all your facets. And I would tell you something about those kind of approaches. We do have people who are more conceptual. We can see Cara is very into, the whole organization, the corporate, the facets of inclusion, gender, age, nationality, etc. And there are people who are very pragmatic. Fernanda comes to the round and she says, yes, academia needs more actions. We are lagging behind. I wouldn't have thought that. In my opinion, academia is so advanced, especially because of the researchers they have with all the statistics about women, right, in every sector. But another pragmatic person we have here in the panel is Adriana Sola. And Adriana could tell us, and I want to ask her in kind of a fire conversation. I want an example because some people, may be hearing to us and maybe a little bit lost. Okay, all these, conceptual things and Kucha telling us about what's going on in ExxonMobil, but I do not work in ExxonMobil. I work somewhere else in Latin America or in Asia. So what does it mean to feel included, Adriana? Can you give us an example of yourself? You are very practical. Give us an example when you felt included, and also is not stopping there. Give us an example when you didn't feel included. Okay? Go ahead.
So I must say, I knew I was going to have at some point this question. and I have been thinking a lot. And I will start where I felt included because it will take me longer to explain where I didn't feel included, put it that way. So the first thing, almost 25 years career experience, I almost felt included everywhere. And I thought, why I'm saying this, it maybe comes with my character, that also helps to be included, or I want to be included, so I will make also effort on that. And I'm saying that because my first job was offshore on a vessel with 72 men. So I had to be included. Otherwise, there was no choice, being 5 weeks there. So I think
inclusion is up to you or up to your surroundings and environment.
In that case, 25 years ago, it was up to me. Right? And that's what that's what I keep saying, almost a quarter of a century of experience, because it has changed so much. I will never expect when I was on that boat that I will be sitting today here surrounded by you, talking about this.
Things have changed.
Yeah, completely. And I mean, most of my career has been at PGS. We have 52 nationalities, right? In the last years, it has been a completely shift on how the company has grown on this. I mean, we got 30% of women in the 3 main hubs and 20% all over the company. And we run vessels as well. So the things have changed a lot. About almost 10 years ago, I was in Asia, and we created the ladies group in Indonesia and in Malaysia. It didn't exist. And where are we now today? So I do feel included completely
and
at work.
So you don't have examples when you didn't feel included? Oh, so which one is that? Tell us.
I do one at work. No, I do one. I as I said, I did try to find. I do have one at work. It was in a town hall a few years ago, where they were presenting few projects, and I felt that I was working so hard on something that it wasn't materializing at that time. So I wasn't mentioned, not me as the group. But I went to talk to my boss, and I had the option to express myself and be authentic. And that's what we already talk, being ourselves. And because I'm on this safe environment at work, I was able to share that, and it was taking the point on this. And I felt included, that even if I wasn't included verbally, the way I act and the way it was received, it was fantastic. Okay. Just to finalize, where I don't feel included. Well, sometimes it's my normal life because I have been expat for almost a decade in places where women, some of them, they don't work. So they live the expat life. So I was not included on any of the activities because I was working. And recently has happened at work, I mean, here in Houston, right, where there have been activities at school that I haven't even been included because I work. But I'm over this. That's part of my growth as a person.
Wow. Well, it's nice to hear that inclusion also depends on one. So it is a little bit like we should foster that kind of self-empowerment, right? In all people, not only women. You know, I always like to say something. There is nothing wrong with women. We are perfect as we are. There is nothing wrong with us. So if anything, what do you think? We should have invited several men to this panel because aren't we applying, counterwise the inclusion? What do you think, Adriana?
I was just looking at the attendees, and there is no man. They could have joined.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
There is the option, and no one did.
Do you think that is because there is some sort of shyness? They don't know how to be part of this. What do you think?
I don't
Why?
know.
Why
Ladies,
there
help
is
me on this
no?
one. What's your
Yes.
view on this?
Why we don't have men participating? Let's hear from Teresa, because you are the chair, right? And what were you expecting? Were you expecting to have some geophysicists accompanying us today or not? You know, this is a
Yes.
fire chat.
Yes, I was expecting to have a man as well, and the reason for that is that when I shared the invitation with my network, I have several replies, especially from men, on congratulating and saying what a great idea and so forth. So I was expecting to have, and maybe the reason they are not here is because we don't have someone in the panel itself, and maybe because we didn't advocate so much that this was going to be an open presentation. I mean,
yes,
that's maybe a reason, but I was expecting because actually also within my company and in the surroundings, I have lots of men that act as
yes,
allies, and I believe those are so important for the cause. I mean, we
yes.
need that.
So
Absolutely.
let me hear from Cara. Cara, you are the past chair, and you have been in the Women's Network Committee for more than 5 years. Let us know why we don't have men attending this webinar.
It's a good question. I don't know if I can answer why we don't have men attending. I would just say it's up to each individual person to determine if that's something that they find valuable and they want to join and make time in their schedule. From my experience, we actually did, before we will say officially invite men to be in our women's group in SLB, I did have a male colleague that came to one of our talks. And he told me afterwards he felt comfortable coming because women tend to be much more open about talking about things like parental leave, balancing work and life, and a lot of things that were important to him, but he didn't necessarily feel like bringing up maybe in other settings. So maybe it could be a lesson learned for us, whether it's having a male represented on the panel or making sure that we are fostering that in terms of what the kind of session is about. But again, it's also International Women's Day. So part of me says that we need to be celebrating women and featuring women and celebrating our achievements. And we do, again, want men to be alongside us. And honestly, they have to be at the table. Men are much more represented in the industry, especially in leadership roles. So we can't not include them. But I do think today is specifically about women. And I think I see Lillian, you put into the chat as well, but there's a feeling that maybe women are the only ones that celebrate this day. I hear you on that, but I also think that we should also be celebrating the women and
Yes.
elevating their image around us and celebrating those that we're excited to be able to work with and that we're, yeah.
I want to share something that perhaps is not always mentioned, and that is why March the 8th is the International Women's Day. Well, there was a march here in the United States on March the 8th in 1975, proclaiming and advocating for the International Women's Day. And in those moments, there were not a lot going on for the movement, but still, it was good to know that this is a celebration that is going on for decades. And why the purple color? The purple color is there because it represents loyalty. And that is a fantastic way to celebrate, right, Women's Day, because that is the color that was chosen, okay, by the International Women's Day Council and Committee. And as you see, this year, every year they have a topic and a hashtag. And this year they have inspire and inclusion. So that is the topic this year. And if you have the time, make sure that you post yourself with the sign of heart in your social media, because that is the International Women's Day 2024 symbolism. Okay, so how pretty is that, and how interesting? I think that the historical side of this is very interesting. I want to take this opportunity to invite our audience today to please share your questions, okay, in the Q&A, because very soon we're going to address your perspectives, your questions. We are very happy that other interesting and important role models in SEG are part of our audience today. And you can place your questions in the chat or in the Q&A. And with that, I would like to bring Fernanda Carozzi into the conversation and in this fire chat and ask her if she has one example that she would like to share with us about one moment when she, tutoring another woman, was instrumental for empowering this younger woman and for her to overcome some challenges that in academia perhaps she was experiencing. Do you have those kind of experiences, Fernanda?
I actually do have those kind of experiences, and those experiences are actually within SEG Women Network. A couple of years ago, I was kind of leading a little bit the students community within the Women Network, and I was working with a lot of women around the world that were studying either undergrad or grad students. And I think that was an amazing experience because throughout that experience, I got to hear a lot of voices and a lot of women from diverse background that were getting into geophysics, either, as I was saying, as undergrad or as grad student, and hearing how they had different challenges maybe, and trying to understand how those challenges were not helping them fully develop or what they were looking for. And I actually had one experience with one of the students. She was from, I think she was from Africa. She was not from Latin America or North America. And she was trying to come to study to North America. So it was the same experience that as I had done before, right? And she was like, she didn't know where to start, who to reach out to, what to do, how to prepare a letter. And we kind of talked through that a lot. And we discussed expectations. We discussed what people are hoping to hear, from students when you are studying maybe in North America, which was my experience. That's where I studied my grad studies. And so we kind of share a lot of how I did all my process until I got here, and once I was here, how I did all my process throughout grad school. And I think that that helped a lot, and I think that was a very nourishing like experience both for her and for myself, because I think I also learned from her, right? Like reviving a little bit all of those questions that you have, and revisiting like all those experiences and feelings that I had before coming, and trying to provide an answer to myself on that as well. So yeah, that was a very nice experience.
Thank you, Fernanda. We really appreciate your participation. International Women's Day is also about sharing that happiness of the success we have in many sectors, organizations, companies where women may not be the majority, but still make a difference, and we feel included, and we foster an environment for inclusion and for inspiration. So 2024 IWD is also the year to talk about inspiration. And when we are in an organization, a team, a cluster of people, we are, inspired by those people who are role model. And when those ideas, insights, the perspectives, but especially the cooperation, I would say that cooperation and participation, that by the way, was raised by Cucha Lopez. She was telling us about participation, right? It is so important, so important. And well, that beautiful purple color prevailing will be an opening for, let's address a first of the Q&A. I think that I will have to direct the questions we receive in the Q&A to our panelists. So let me see if we have something in the chat. And I think that it is, says Cara, it is not a zero-sum game. I love the quote of "Raising tide lifts all boats." And would you like to explain a little bit more, Cara? What does that mean? A raising tide lifts all boats. What a beautiful sentence.
No, I think for me, this is something that when it comes to when we're advocating specific things for women, and then men say, well, what's in it for me? Like, this is not, why do I need to be here? Why do I need to listen? And for me, it means like if we're elevating, say, women's voices, or if we're advocating for equal rights or policies in place, then we're all collectively able to become more inclusive. We're all collectively to be able to be more authentic and bring our authentic selves to work. And ultimately, diverse perspectives and included teams are going to deliver more value when it comes to our success as an organization. So that's something that I think it's really important to have, again, men being at the table, listening and advocating and being allies as well. But that's what I mean. I like that rising tide lifts all boats, is it's not just us versus them, it's all of us collectively together.
Excellent. May I ask Kucha into the round to answer Lillian's comment on the chat about celebrating International Women's Day. How will you celebrate today, Kucha?
How would I celebrate today? Well, first of all, and this is every day is a celebration for it. That today we can be loud, a lot louder than any other day. Then yes, one of the things that I did to celebrate today was to actually invite all of my friends, my colleagues, and to participate. And don't see anybody in the chat, but that was my part, right? It's like, this is important to me, and the way that I celebrated it was to share it with my network, and share it with people in my team, with all of the men and women that I know in the company. I just wrote down an email and said, come and hear this out. I definitely, because I mentioned that participation is important, and thank you, Mariangela, for pointing out, how we make part of the movement. I want to put on a beautiful purple dress and take a picture like this and share it in my social media, because that is what's important. I'm going to start by advocating for myself and for yourselves in social media and in the world. Probably, you know, I didn't know that it was, we have purposely chosen purple. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to advocate for myself. I'm going to be an ally and an advocate, and I'm going to actively participate today to create that awareness that I was mentioning at the end, that culture. I want everybody to know that today is International Women's Day and that everybody can be an advocate and an ally. And that
Yes.
we all take proud of it.
You know that IWD is celebrated globally. And for example, I don't know if you, like me, have, the opportunity to use Google today. But as I was exploring things to share in this webinar, I saw that today's Google Doodle is about Women's Day. Have you seen today's Google Doodle? This one.
Beautiful.
Yes, it is beautiful. And let me ask Adriana, how are you going to celebrate Women's Day today or tomorrow?
Today, I have already the chance to celebrate. Tomorrow, there is a special day because we are going to the cinema.
How is that?
How is that? Believe it or not, there is a movie that comes up today, and I guess when we go in, I mean, I have just read a bit of the script. It's Carabirini. Do I say that correctly?
Cabrini. Yes.
So I will have the chance to go with one of my colleagues that she joined PGS not long, about a year ago, and I asked her, I forgot to say it at the beginning, I asked her, do you feel included at PGS? And she said, absolutely. So I didn't have the bias of being 17 years at the company. I heard it from someone that joined a year ago that she feels on her safe space. So we're going tomorrow to celebrate this together and going to watch this lady, how she ended up in New York and what she did in New York.
You know that all webinars are sponsored by some organizations or some companies. Our webinar is organized by the Women's Network Committee of the Society of Exploration Geophysicists, the SEG, whose chair is Teresa Santana. And the committee has arranged for several ways of celebrating International Women's Day. Tomorrow, we are inviting all geophysicists, men and women, to attend at 2:50 p.m. in the Grand Cinemas, the new ones, the premiere of the movie Cabrini, which is based on a true story. And is a lady that came, is an Italian lady, yes, that came to the United States to take care of homeless and poverty communities, or communities in poverty, that is. And she is the first Catholic saint here in America. But the important thing about Cabrini, I would say, is that she founded more than 92 of these organizations in the United States. But most interesting, she was one opposing the Pope. I mean, and she went all the way to Rome to fight for what she thought was right. And there we are. We didn't choose this for any religious thing in particular, but because every year the International Women's Day organization picks a film, a movie. And this is the 2024 movie that they have selected. So we are attempting, a new format to celebrate International Women's Day. So we invite all of you to, this is going to happen in Houston, but if you are part of the Women's Network Committee of SEG, you are most encouraged to organize a movie outing in your city, in your country, during the month of March. March is a whole month of celebration. And let me open for our chair, Teresa. She wants to say something.
Yeah, I was going to say that in Argentina, this is going to be on the 21st, and I am trying to organize the same. So I pushed all of you to encourage anyone in any place to look for the movie and see when it's on, and get there a group of colleagues, friends, whoever wants to go for this cause.
Thank you, Teresa. We like new initiatives, and we certainly commend you and all in the Women's Network Committee leadership for organizing different avenues to reach out to our membership in SEG about the celebration of the International Women's Day. And with that, we are coming to the top of the hour, and this, I know, has been set for 1 hour and a half. I wanted to anyways have like a round of a call of names, or a round of vote if we want to go all the way to 10:30 Houston time, or if we call it a close at this time. What do you think?
I think if there's more questions from any of the participants, if they want to put them into the chat or in the Q&A, I'm available to stick around a bit longer. But if we don't have too many more questions, we can probably each maybe give a closing comment or something, and then close. But I leave it to you.
Yes, as a moderator, I can tell you that I have seen people leaving the webinar, and there are no questions at the moment in the Q&A. So because of that, I would like to ask Fernanda if she can open her camera. And before we end, we want to take a photo with the symbol of the 2024 International Women's Day, which is inspired an inclusion hashtag and the heart symbol. So let's open the cameras, and Fernanda, we don't
Maria,
see you.
You cannot see me. I have
No.
my camera. I had my camera open the whole time.
No, we couldn't see you.
We cannot see you now.
You cannot
We couldn't
see
see
me?
you.
No.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I thought I was being like on the camera the whole time. I'm sorry about that.
No.
So can we, Adriana, we are not looking your symbol, and can anybody take the photo and then share it?
Debbie, can you do it?
Debbie or Jennifer, maybe?
I took a couple.
Oh,
great.
Great. So after this mandatory photo that is usual on the IWD, of course, I will now ask Cara, Teresa, Fernanda, Cucha, and Adriana for their closing remarks. May those be your selected word about how did this webinar make you feel, right? Or what is the message that you want to leave with those who join us today? So let me start with Adriana.
Yeah. Just before this, I have got something to share. We are doing a book club once a month about this book, which it goes fantastic with the topic today. And we're looking for other participants and they would like to join. Okay? Okay, I got Cara as well. And this book is a revelation. So that's from that side. I'm going to leave soon with a lot of energy. And I must say, I want to thank you, Maria Angela, because she's the one that she introduced me to the SEG Women's Network. And thanks to her, I'm a much happier person.
Oh, thank you, Adriana. You are awesome on your own right. And I am certain that the WNC has benefited from your participation, as we can see today. Thank you so much to your efforts and to your generous hours that you dedicate to this group. Cucha, let us hear from you.
Well, just like Adriana, I'm gonna leave this feeling empowered and very full of energy. And what I want to say as a closing remark from my side on what I see here, it's those three important things that I mentioned that are important: to take ownership and advocate for yourself, the participation to create this culture. I have always been an advocate for inclusion. I'm an inclusion and diversity ambassador at ExxonMobil. And it was not until a couple of years ago that I asked myself, but can I do more? And I'm very certain that other people that have been there in the panel might have, after this chat and all of that is like, oh, these are cool women. Maybe I want to participate too. And it took me. I've been in the industry for 14 years. It took me more than a decade thinking and feeling sometimes alone and or a minority. And it was until after, in my case, I decided to come forward and say, hey, I want to participate in this. And this has been something that I have enjoyed so much, working with all of you ladies and having this type of conversations and our chats during the meetings. And I just want to tell people that it's very easy, and it's something that you get rewarded immediately when your network increases from exponentially when you join these groups and all different sorts of groups that are there of inclusion and diversity. So think about it. I hope that this also leaves you very empowered. And if you want to participate or just increase your network, we are all here and we can tell you a lot more about how awesome it is to interact all together.
Wonderful words, Kucha. And I echo Lillian's congratulations to you. You bring energy in every room you step a foot on. So thank you, Kucha. All right. Let us hear now from Fernanda.
Maria Angela, can you still not see me, right?
No, we
No.
cannot see
No.
you.
I
We
am
never
so
saw
sorry
you.
about that.
We saw you at the beginning, just at the beginning a little
I
bit.
am so sorry about that, but it has been great to be part of this panel. I have learned a lot. And one word that I'm taking away with me, and I think it's great, is like you need to participate and you need to like embrace being a woman. And what I would probably say is that just reach out, reach out to mentors, to reach out to people that can be like someone that can like be a mentor for you, a leader for you, or someone that can help you. If you don't feel included, there's always something that we can all do for that. And it's great to just get that participation happening. So yeah, I'm taking that away with me today, and I think that that's a great part of this webinar today.
Excellent. So, of course, I'm going to leave our chair for last. So, obviously, the next turn would be for Cara at the bat.
Oh goodness. I really enjoy working with all these different inspiring women and drawing a lot of inspiration from a lot of things that we've discussed. I even wrote down a few things myself, like advocating for all the different hats you wear, and making sure that you're bringing your own unique story and perspective. So I think that for me, I get a lot of excitement, a lot of energy, and a lot of inspiration just from having opportunities to have conversations like this. So thank you, Maria Angela, again for moderating, and to all the participants.
Thank you very much, Cara. And now let's hear from our chair of the Women's Network Committee of SEG, Teresa Santana. Teresa?
Well, I'm really delighted and energized with all these happiness and things that we discuss and we talk openly. And I will encourage everyone to really go for your dreams, follow your passion. And a way, if you don't feel like doing it, so if you don't feel like sitting in the table or you don't have that place, look out for a peer, for someone that will help you. So I always look around and sometimes find very talented people around that are not willing to advocate themselves because they are not prepared. So we need to really look for that and give our advice if they are not. And that's the way, that's why I think this type of meetings, this type of networks are so valuable because they give voice to those that are not willing to put their voice up in other situations. So I thanks everyone that joined, all the participants and these team members that I have at this committee now, that for their valuable work, and let's move forward together and change gear as needed. I mean, we have to be open and we have to look at what is needed and make the changes as required and when required. So also thanks you, Mariangela, for your fabulous being a fabulous moderator today. And well, with that, I'm more than happy to continue and to celebrate our day. Thank you.
Fantastic. What a good closure. That is a golden brush to what we did today. With this webinar, we celebrated International Women's Day on the day, March the 8th. So remember, the whole month of March is a month to celebrate the International Women's Day. The Women's Network Committee invites you to a movie out tomorrow in Houston and on the 21st in Buenos Aires. To go see the International Women's Day selected movie Cabrini. And the committee also invites you to a book club, led in many ways by Adriana Sola, with a fantastic book, right? And with that, let me say that I take away the energy and the enthusiasm that each one of us fill my heart with. So thank you for being there and for advocating for women. It is a pleasure to have moderated. It has been a pleasure to have moderated this panel because of each one of you. So thank you and keep celebrating. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye,